Hey guys, so if you follow my channel for a while, you would know that I used to do an analysis of the top ranked players on Dueling Book and outline what decks they were playing, but that did come to a stop back in June when YGOscope no longer allowed people to search for usernames. Now I decided to revive that series but in a different fashion where I basically will go on ranked matches in watch mode and take note of what players are running and collect the data that way. So not as comprehensive as what the series used to be, but hopefully it's still interesting and helpful enough for it to warrant me doing it on a recurring basis. And before we continue, a big thanks to my sponsors as usual. If you want some sick sleeves or playmats or binders, feel free to check out my discount codes below. Alright, so this video will look at the top 100 ranked players overall, but let's focus on the top 25 for now, and I managed to find 17 players in this pool, so I obviously cannot get everyone since not everyone is on during the times that I'm collecting the data. Anyways, as expected, we do have tier limits as the most played deck, but at the same time, not as of a huge representation as you saw in the YCS, probably because this is online play after all, and not everyone wants to play tiers where there's no time limit because matches could go very long, and they may not be looking forward to the mirror. Flunder and Sprite are still popular among these high ranked players, and we do also have even an Ad Ignister here since Vision is always ranked high with the deck. Then we have Naturia Shizu, which of course is a deck that had success at YCS Dortmund and piloted by Dinka Bui and can help combat against tiers thanks to the Keldo and Medora. Now for players ranked between 26 and 50, which I had just about half of the players in this pool collected for the video, we actually see that they were more likely to be on Sprite, which is interesting. While Sprite is definitely behind tiers in terms of strength, you can definitely tweak the list to have a fighting chance against them, such as the Dimension Shifters, or in rarer cases even using Parallel Exceed to make Abyss Dweller post side. Draco Slayers also made an appearance here as well, which had a bit of a success at YCS Dortmund. I mean, it's a deck that can search Necro Valley through Magispector, which is quite strong in this format, and don't forget to check out my Pendulum deck profile featuring Criff on my channel recently. Lastly, in between rank 51 and 100, we again see mostly tiers, but we do have another showing of Naturia as well as Scareclaw Kashtira list and a Sword Soul list. I don't know too much about Kashtira at this moment, although I do know they will be a force to be reckoned with once Photon Hypernova drops early next year. Sword Soul is an interesting place where the playstyle has shifted quite a bit, and the deck can also try to be more anti-tier elements in its playstyle, and you can check my recent Sword Soul deck profile on my channel to get a sense of what I'm talking about. So overall, between ranks 1 to 100, this essentially becomes the breakdown where 43% involve tier elements, not quite the 70 to 80% you saw at the YCS, but as I mentioned earlier, the representation on Dueling Book can be a bit different than IRL play, and I would say more so nowadays because of that tier mirror, as well as the matches just taking too long, would be my guess. Curious to see how this changes by next month. Now let's cover a bit more detail on some of these decks, and first with tier limits there actually were some different variants, with mostly being the Ishizu variant that we're used to, but there were some Bestial focused strategies as well, and I don't mean just running Magnemite or Druid's Worm, but actually running the Bestial Trap and Spell. There was even a branded and runic version running around as well among the players that I observed as part of this video. Based on YGOscope data, in the last 7 days among all players online, no surprise, tier elements were the most played deck online and had an insane 60% match win percentage despite the huge number of players running the deck, good or bad. If you watch my tier list by the data videos every month, you would know that they also scored first on my list, as to no one's surprise. Then as for Sprite, most were the pure frog type, but we did have a few adventure engines running around, which actually is pretty decent since you can always pitch the Angler with the Brave engine and get that going as well. There was also one Tri-Brigade variant, which is not seeing much play nowadays, but probably the only way to play Tri-Brigade in the current meta. As for all players online, this was the second most played deck with a very impressive 59% match win percentage. Despite the dominance of tiers, Sprite are still holding on their own, at least in online play, although at the YCS level obviously we're only seeing a small sliver of them. Next we have Fluanderies, which among all players was the third most played deck, and so the representation is essentially equal to what we see among the high ranked players. Its 60% match win percentage online is pretty good as well, and it is the best anti-meta strategy at the moment, so you're basically on tiers or Flunder it seems, at least at the YCS level. As for Sword Soul, it actually played quite a bit still online, being the 6th most played with a solid 51% match win percentage. Obviously not at the same level as the first 3 decks I showed, but honestly is pretty decent, although nowhere close to the tier 1 dominance it had shown just a few months earlier. Lastly, I wanted to highlight Draco Slayers because it did top the YCS, but online, it's not seeing that much play at the moment and had a pretty poor win percentage at 47%. I think this deck would excel more at the premier level events because of the higher representation of tier elements, which this deck has a good matchup against. While overall it scored 13th on my meta tier list, it scored 7th in my rogue specific tier list video, and even that I think is an underrepresentation because I believe this is one of the best rogue decks right now, although of course there's not much bearing to that statement because for the most part it is very rough for the majority of rogue decks in the current format. Alright guys, so that was it for this new iteration of the monthly meta-analysis of the top ranked players. Hope you found that interesting. Definitely let me know in the comments if this type of video is worthwhile for me to continue making them. As usual, big thanks to my Patreons, Eileen Dice Queen, Bolt Spider, Cybernetic, Brandon Jaren, Barrel Lord, Spooky Boogie, Stephen Phillips, and Chaz Blanks, as always, for supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. If you're interested in joining my Patreon, link down below. Take care guys.